Hi, I'm Varael Soren. In the previous episode, we discovered something essential. Life is a flow, and the more we fight it, the more exhausted we become. But there is a deeper truth most people never see. We don't suffer because of life itself. We suffer because we're unconsciously resisting it. And today, I want to show you the hidden force that creates 80% of the heaviness in your mind: resistance. Once you understand this principle, your life begins to feel lighter, starting today. Before we dive into the core teaching, I want you to look at something very familiar in your own life. Think about the last time you felt tired, stressed, or disappointed. Was it because life was truly difficult, or because things didn't go the way you expected them to? Here's what most people never realize. Most of our suffering comes from wanting reality to be different than it is. You want people to behave the way you believe they should. You want your plans to unfold smoothly. You want your emotions to stay positive all the time. And when life doesn't follow that script, you begin resisting it. This resistance creates chronic stress, anxiety, sleepless nights, broken relationships, and the constant feeling that life is heavier than it should be. And this is why today's lesson matters so much. You cannot live in flow if you don't see where you're unconsciously fighting the flow. Once you understand this principle, not only does your inner heaviness begin to dissolve, you also start noticing new paths appearing right where you once felt stuck. And to understand how this truly works, we need to return to the core insight Alan Watts revealed. Alan Watts explained that resistance is not solving the problem. Resistance is refusing to accept what is happening. It shows up in very subtle ways. This shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't act like that. I should be better, faster, stronger. Every should is resistance. It is the moment you want reality to follow your script. How many shoulds are you carrying right now? Resistance is trying to change reality before understanding it. This is the root of almost all suffering. Watts made a powerful distinction: pain, natural discomfort. It comes and it goes. It's just the event. Suffering is the resistance to that pain. It's not the comment that hurts you. It's your belief that they shouldn't have said that. It's not failure that breaks you. It's resisting the truth that things didn't go my way. It's not change that scares you. It's refusing to accept, I didn't want this to happen. This is why Watts said, what you resist persists. The more you fight something, the more it expands inside your mind. Ego wants control. Life doesn't follow ego's plan. The gap between the two creates stress, anger, anxiety, confusion. Resistance doesn't just hurt. Resistance prolongs the hurt and multiplies it. But that's only half of the picture. The other half, the part that brings real relief, is what happens when you stop resisting. When you stop resisting what is happening, the first thing you feel is a sense of lightness in your mind. The tension created by trying to control everything begins to dissolve. Your emotions settle faster, and the next step becomes clearer. Alan Watts compared this to moving from playing offbeat to suddenly falling back into the natural rhythm of life's music. You're no longer forcing life to obey your script. You begin to move with it. This isn't giving up. It's no longer wasting your energy fighting what you cannot change. And in that moment, you reclaim your real power. And this is where the magic truly begins. The immediate changes are only the surface. The extraordinary transformation happens when you live this way long enough. When non-resistance becomes the way you move through life, your entire reality begins to shift in ways you never imagined. You become lighter, yet stronger. Opportunities that once felt impossible start appearing naturally, and the things you used to force finally begin to unfold on their own. This is the real power of releasing resistance. It doesn't just soften this moment, it changes the entire direction of your life. And to see this power more clearly, let's look at how it shows up in everyday life. In the beginning, I promise to show you the hidden force that creates 80% of the heaviness in your mind. Now that you can finally see what resistance is, let's reveal where this habit hides in the four most common areas of your daily life. Number 1, inner life. Number 2, health. Number 3, relationships. Number 4, finance. Number 1, inner life. You feel sad, anxious, or angry. Most people try to push these feelings away. I shouldn't be sad. I shouldn't worry. I shouldn't be angry. But that very shouldn't is resistance. And resistance makes emotions stay longer and feel heavier. When you simply acknowledge, oh, I'm sad right now, the emotion begins to dissolve, just like a cloud passing through the sky. No resistance, no weight. And resistance doesn't appear only in your emotions. It also shows up in your body. Number 2, health. Your body has its own intelligence. It reflects exactly what's happening inside you. Stress, pressure, long hours, these aren't the real problem. The real problem is how you relate to what you're doing. Many people work while resisting their own effort, one thing after another. Why is everything always so difficult? It's the resistance to the work, not the work itself, that drains your energy. But when you shift your inner stance and tell yourself, all right, this is what I'm doing now. I'll move with it. Your whole body changes. You can still work, strive, push forward, but now in a state of flow, not friction. Light in the mind, soft in the body. You don't need to stop working to feel better. You feel better while working because your body isn't fighting your effort anymore. But resistance becomes even more subtle. It shows up most clearly in how we relate to other people. Number 3, relationships. One of the strongest forms of resistance is expectation. You expect people to understand you, to respond the way you want, to avoid hurting you. But everyone has their own rhythm, and the moment they don't match the version you hold in your mind, resistance appears. You're not hurt because they are wrong. You're hurt because they didn't match your expectation. Expectation turns a real person into a mental map. And when you love the map more than the person, you will always be disappointed. Freedom isn't walking away. Freedom is letting go of the image you placed on them. When you see them as they truly are, resistance drops. And the relationship becomes lighter, even if they never change. And in the most practical parts of life, work and finances, resistance shows up more clearly than anywhere else. Number 4, finance. You want everything to follow your plan. Income to be steady. Life to move at the pace you expect. But reality doesn't follow the timeline in your mind. And the gap between what you want and the rhythm life is actually giving you creates the deepest exhaustion. You're not tired, because the work is hard. You're tired because you don't accept that things aren't going your way right now. When you accept the pace life is offering, clarity appears. The next step reveals itself, not because circumstances changed, but because you stopped fighting what's happening. Finances are a big topic. We'll break them down step by step in future episodes. But remember this truth: money is not the root. Money is the final result of inner awareness. Without that awareness, no amount of money can bring peace, and no amount is guaranteed to stay. So if your finances aren't flowing right now, simply accept that reality. Live as lightly as you can with your current situation. Because once you understand the deeper principles, finances become the easiest thing to resolve. Whether it's emotions, health, relationships, or finances, the heaviness you feel comes from the same source: resisting what is happening. Once you see this clearly, you no longer need to control every part of your life. You only need to do one thing: stop resisting. And when you do, everything else begins to soften, layer by layer. Now, you've seen what resistance really is. Not a force outside you, but a quiet habit inside the mind that makes life heavier than it needs to be. And when you recognize it, you can choose a different way to live. You can move with life instead of fighting it. You can stop resisting and feel everything begin to soften and improve. This is the beginning of flow. But to truly live in this state, you need to understand something deeper. What is the natural flow of life? And what are you actually meant to align with? That's what we'll explore in the next episode. A deeper return to Core 1, where you'll finally understand what you are really meant to move in harmony with when you stop resisting. Clear, practical insights that you can actually apply to create real change. I'll see you in the next episode. What is the real flow of life?